Hello, everybody, and welcome to tonight's episode 14 of Tales of Escuria. As always, we are presented by and in association with Horsham Gamers. We are a local group who do all kinds of gaming, all the way through from board games and tabletop stuff like this, through to digital gaming, everything else that you can think of. And basically, if you're into it and it's to do with digital gaming or any kind of gaming, we're interested in it too. So, without further ado, we'll get on with tonight's episode of Tales of Escuria. You guys make your way out of the woods after finishing up with your battle with the lizard man Krillic and the blood hunter who was sent after you. After a couple more days, you managed to make your way eventually out of the woods, and you find yourself on a small dusty trail leading out and down towards a small kind of coastal path. And you emerge on the north side of the fishing town of Yokai. When you guys arrive, you can see that it is a not a particularly large town by any means. It's pretty spread out due to various different things, such as the large amounts of farming which you can see, which is something which is very rare in the Underdark. But you're able to see that there appear to be fields growing various different grains, such as barley and wheat. The plants seem to be sustained from an external source of light, which seems to have, as well as the farmers tilling the fields, you can see what seem to be kind of, you can see what look like mages whose job it is to move along the fields with their sources of light, kind of like mini suns, kind of providing light for each of the different crops, kind of walking back and forth along the rows. And can everybody make a perception check for me, please?
Everyone right from the start.
Okay.
First is mine, and the second one is Jenkins.
Okay. So, Vixen, you notice, and it probably makes sense that you are the one who notices this. Everyone that you seem to pass while you're on this coastal path, they seem to have this strange kind of reverence towards you when you walk past. Specifically you. You can see a lot of people kind of averting their eyes. A few people kind of stop kind of to let you pass. Things such as that. And you notice that many of them seem to be wearing amulets around their necks with the symbol of a spider on it.
Mm-hmm.
It is very clear to you that the locals of Yokai seem to be very devout in their worship of Lolth.
My people!
So yeah, let me see. You guys can currently see the map of Yokai, yeah?
Yeah.
Cool. Wonderful. I'll just put it up on the stream a second as soon as the page reloads, because Roll20 decided to reload on me for some reason. Just a second. Wait for it to load. Okay. And there we go. So yeah,
Sorry.
you guys seem to be coming from kind of this northern part of the path up here to the kind of northeast, arriving into the North Pools area of Yokai. The buildings around here seem to be very very rough. They seem to be mostly made out of either just kind of wooden shacks or mixtures of kind of hay and mud brick. Seem to be made of the same kind of mud as the areas around it. It's very much kind of a river estuary kind of deal. Lots and lots of mud, very damp. And you can see a large number of people fishing out of these pools. People kind of dredging nets through them, and similar. Most of the locals seem to be caked in mud up to about kind of their thighs or higher usually. So yeah, you guys can see further off. You can see a stone bridge which is leading to a more built-up area of town, and further on from that again, you can see some higher areas of town as it gets further up towards the cliffs. So, what would you guys like to do?
I'm going to relay to the party about the presence of Lolth in the area and the fact that maybe Idris should keep her head down.
But how do you know it?
How do you know it?
How do because they're all wearing the same amulet I am. Yeah. Oh, and also while we're here, we have that letter that we should look into. Maybe it has an address on it.
Oh, yeah.
At least then it looks like we're here for a reason.
Yes.
Is there anything we should know about your religion, like some sort of respect sign or something? We should know something?
There's a church in the area. You want to go check it out?
No.
Oh.
I don't want to do something rude or something that might cause me trouble. So, is there anything I need to know?
Not really. I think you'll be good.
Okay.
You can make a religion check if you'd like to see if you remember anything particular.
Me?
Yeah.
Okay, how do I do that?
I don't think Lolth would mind if you made a fool of yourself.
Probably not, no.
What the heck?
Okay.
Remember that.
So,
Nothing. You literally don't even know how to speak.
no, so literally, when Vixen is talking about Lolth, you're like, the first thing is like, who's Lolth? Is Lolth one of your friends? Like, what is this?
What is that?
I've never heard of it. Is it a kind of dish? Can I eat it? So yeah, you don't remember anything.
I just laugh and nod. It's like smile and nod.
So yeah,
So
you guys are basically this episode is going to be kind of a chance for you guys to do any downtime activities that you want to do. If there's any shopping or selling of things that you want to do, if there's any things that you want to kind of check out.
I think can we check can we check the letter for an address and do that first while we're here?
Yeah, sure.
I assume that if they have these sons, they have some kind of technology, maybe. Can we check if anyone knows about the robot?
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, sure.
Well, if we do the letter first, we can ask the person we delivered the letter to because they're probably willing to give us more information.
Yeah.
Okay.
And just as a side note, Idris feels really uncomfy in this place. Really uncomfy.
Mm-hmm.
We understand.
I gently tap her on the shoulder. You'll be fine. Just keep it.
Look, I assume that the people doesn't know us, right?
Sorry?
I assume that the people don't know us. Like the wanted signs, you don't know.
You make
Fast enough, probably.
make an investigation check.
Okay.
I would be surprised if there were wanted posters already.
It would be too fast. You're just
no.
running away. But yeah, check it. Doesn't hurt.
What are you doing then?
Okay. with that investigation check, looking around, you don't seem to see any wanted posters or anything that you'd expect to see showing that people are looking for you specifically. You do find there's kind of like a notice board which has been attached to like one of the larger buildings in the North Pools, and on that you can see. Let me just get it for you. This. So you guys can take as long as you want to read this, but basically you can see what seems to be a scroll which has been like hammered into this this notice board, and whereas all the other things on the notice board seem to be like little bits of paper, little scraps that people might have put up saying like, oh, I've lost my hammer, can you return it here? Or like, missing cat, or there's a dance on Tuesday or something. This is on like fine paper and fine ink. This is presumably has come from somewhere official. So yeah. No sign of any wanted posters or similar. And when people look at your group, the thing they seem to focus on mostly is the amulet around Vixen's neck, not any of you.
Not even
Not even you. They see the amulet and immediately they're like, I look away. I don't look at the amulet.
Okay.
Good enough. Helpful.
Is your amulet different from the other ones? Or does it...
Yeah, does it look different?
Yeah,
Vixen's one is much fancier. Theirs are like little kind
fancier.
of wooden carved bits and bobs, or like maybe some stone. If they're particularly fancy, there might be a jewel in it or something. But Vixen's one is like was taken from her silk mother and is like made of like brass and gold and has like is quite large. Like, so yeah.
So we're fine. All right.
So yeah, you wanted to check the letter. Can you make whoever wants to check the letter? Can you make an investigation check?
Oh, yes.
I don't really care about the letter, honestly. So you can go.
Vixen, as you kind of like examine this letter, there's no kind of address on the letter itself or anything. But you remember that the book that it was stowed in, this letter, had a maker's mark on the back of it that said Thorthold's Tinctury.
Okay.
And that has underneath it printed an address in Yokai.
Wonderful. Okay, what does everyone want to do? Because I'm up for handing in the letter. I can find out some information if need be.
I'm in for it.
Yeah, me too.
I'm not. I will just roam around the city.
Oh, would you like to go to a pub?
For example, yeah, ask some questions. I mean,
In that case, Idris will go with you to a pub.
Well, I'm going to a pub afterwards, but okay. I'll meet you there.
I feel better. We can meet there. You can hand off the letter. And do you need my help?
Duty last. Yeah.
Yeah, I go with you, Vixen.
Okay.
Kada is going to go wherever Alan goes to look after him.
I am like super intrigued why people is looking at Vixen like so. And I asked her, are you famous or something?
No, dear.
Idris feels really uncomfy with this. Going to the pub.
Okay. Those of you who are heading to the pub, this feels strangely appropriate. Make a survival check, because the pub is a matter of survival, apparently. Just to see how long it takes you to find it.
Okay, yeah.
You've all got keen pub senses. So yeah.
Even Jenkins.
Even Jenkins. after the few days you've had, a drink is definitely on the cards. Definitely something that feels appropriate. So it takes you a little while, but you realise that in terms of pubs, there isn't really much around here. There seems to only really be one thing that you'd be able to call an actual pub. You get the impression from looking at it that, like, the nobles all just drink in their own homes, and the commoners all just kind of make their own moonshine alcohol and drink at home as well. But there is a small... you can tell that this was made from a ship, almost like an upturned Viking ship that's been kind of propped up to form a roof, and then kind of wooden boards put around the outside of it to form walls. There's a small squat building down in the south in the Gold Vale called Sultan Sake.
Okay.
Let's go. Looks fancy.
Yep.
When you guys who are heading into the pub get inside, there is a rather scruffy-looking dragonborn behind the bar. He has very long, almost kind of like coy whiskers that like come up and then like bend down, kind of like around here. And he is in the middle of smoking from a pipe, just kind of like staring off into empty space. You can see there's only like 2 people in here. This is like the middle of a work day, and most people seem to be out in the fields, but these 2 people obviously have nothing better to be doing.
Does the guy also wear an amulet?
You can see that he seems to be wearing an amulet of some kind, but it's kind of like underneath his clothing. He's just kind of like sat there, and then when he finally spots you guys coming in, you can see him kind of like his eyes widen, and he's just like, oh, and like he just kind of like puts the pipe down, and starts immediately like washing as many glasses as he can find like around the place. He's just like, customers, very good customers. Don't want those kind of customers, thank you.
Sorry.
It's fine. Thankfully, that was not on the stream, so we're good.
Oh god.
God love autism sometimes.
Oh
That was
god.
the moment, ladies and gentlemen, to just collect ourselves a second.
I'm sorry.
It's fine. It's fine.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah,
Let's get into the character again.
this
Perfect. On point. I feel like in a pub. Perfect.
is perfect.
Perfect to set the mood.
Okay.
This dragonborn is kind of he seems to desperately be searching for random tankards and glasses and things. You realise from looking around this place, it doesn't seem to be very well stocked at all. Like, he seems to be struggling to find enough glasses to just serve the number of people who are in here right now.
Oh, lovely. Idris walks up to a bar and greets him. Like, hello, my friend.
Oh,
Can you
yes,
give
fine,
me something of your best drink? And
Okay.
also for my 2 friends. It's 2 of them. Oh, and Jenkins, so 3 friends, and the 2 other guys sitting around in the bar.
Hey, yes, of course.
I just grab Jenkins and bring him to the close to him. We're celebrating that this guy is graduating from university.
Congratulations. I have something around here somewhere. And then he like reaches under the bar and he pulls out like a single party popper and just pops it into the air and then puts it back under the bar, and he's just like, congratulations. Okay, I'll get those drinks for you. And you see him like walk up to the selection on the bar, which appears to be the top shelf all appears to be bottles that look pretty much the same. Of a kind of clear liquid, the bottles themselves seem to be kind of wrapped in rope and twine, around kind of just after the neck of the bottle down to the bottom of them, and he grabs a few of them off the bar and basically just like puts them on the bar in front of each of you and is just like, the finest we have.
How much does that cost? For how much people are they? There are 2 guys in the bar: Idris, Jenkins, Alan, and Kada, right? 6 people.
Mm-hmm. At this point, Hawk, who just happens to have come with you, because of course he came to the pub, just like takes out a coin purse full of money and just shoves it on the bar, and he's just like, give me everything you have. Just all of it.
Oh, because I would like to send the 2 people sitting around out and to tell their friends that there are free drinks in the bar. They should come.
Why?
Because I want to party. It's so empty.
Okay, yeah.
Hawk is looking at you and nodding, just like, yeah.
He got me. Let's make some party. Alan, can you make some music? It's so quiet.
Let's try. Yeah, definitely. I get like my Let's see. I don't even remember what instruments I have in my. Okay, yeah. I get my lute. Do I have it? Yeah, and I start playing. Like one of the like really classic melodies, like really pretentious.
Like a
That's
really
like-
like old high drow folk song type thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With I know not this. Sorry.
You want
I
performance
think
for
it's
that one.
performance.
You're a little bit rusty, but like once you get kind of warmed up and into it, like you're playing it pretty adequately.
And after drink.
While you're doing that, you notice the Dragonborn is kind of like tapping his foot along. He's kind of nodding a little bit, until eventually he walks over to kind of a small kind of side table that he's got in the bar and starts pulling open drawers and rummaging through until eventually he picks up a pair of panpipes and he starts playing along with the song.
Lovely.
That's cute.
You get the impression from his playing that he is probably about as rusty as you are, but you're managing to keep it together pretty well.
Lovely.
And then when you just reach the final note of the song, the panpipes sound about 5 times as loud as they have for the whole rest of the song as you reach the final note. And anyone who notices and looks in the direction can see small amounts of electricity coming out of the end of the panpipes, as this Dragonborn appears to be breathing his electric breath weapon through the panpipes.
Nice. And as there are 2 people in the bar, gather some people around. So does the bar fill up?
One of them seems to have gone outside just to kind of try and gather people to be like, something weird's happening, you need to see what this is.
And free drinks.
The other guy appears to, on further inspection, be asleep. Up until the very last note of that song, at which point he shocks awake and is just like...
In that moment, Idris takes a glass of something, like that what he gave, and just punches it on the table in front of him and gives him like a slap on the back. Let's drink.
Aye. And he kind of just takes it and just like starts
I
downing
didn't
the whole
working
bottle.
anymore.
He's still asleep.
Okay. So when we finish our first song, I assume that the people there is the same that when we got in. Still.
Like a couple more people have arrived over the course of the song.
Okay. So I address to the Dragonborn and ask him politely, where did you learn this?
Oh, in the previous life, I used to be a bard myself. The Great Koshka, they called me. Well, I called myself Great, they called me Koshka. But still. I used to be... they called me the mudlark of the Yokai. I would walk around the pools, I would entertain people while they worked, keep the morale up, you know. It was a good life.
Yeah. How did you end up like this?
He looks at you just kind of like, what do you mean?
I mean, this place doesn't really look like busy. I don't really know.
No, it's well, this is the middle of the day, of course. You know, people tend to be quite busy working. Later on at night, it gets pretty busy. You know, the being pretty much the only place around here where people want to come and drink and be merry. It can get pretty busy.
Okay, so I guess that we can have a pretty big audience tonight. Maybe we can prepare something.
An
And
audience, you
obviously,
say?
well, I mean, we can put on a show together.
Yes, yes. I like
And
it.
this lady here, the shiny lady, she looks like singing really well.
He looks over at Idris and kind of like eyes you up and down for a second. Make a persuasion check.
Okay.
He nods a little bit and he's just like, yes. I can see that there is some knowledge of the beauty of music in there, as well as just beauty of the flesh.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah. But
Okay.
I have to say that we can collaborate together, but we would like to ask some questions. As
Questions,
you
of
want,
course.
before or afterwards. But we only want to ask some questions. Not dangerous questions, just we're new here, we want to know what's going on.
You are free to ask whatever questions you like, friend.
So, the first one I have is, what are these things that light the orchards?
Oh, you talk of the gift light. Yes. This is a marvelous spell that has been handed down from generation to generation. You know that things don't grow quite as well down here in the kind of gestures up to the ceiling. He says, most things need some sunlight. So we found a way to create something that is not quite sunlight itself, but close enough. Feed the
But
plants.
is it magic or
Of course.
okay? It looked like some kind of technology.
Oh, no. Well, I don't know if you've seen around here, and he kind of like knocks on like the wood planks that make up like the wall of the bar. He just says, things are a little bit more traditional around here.
And so, if this is magic, is there any wizard around like to create that, or they have been here forever?
No, well, not so much wizards exactly. It's the staffs, you know. They anyone can hold them really, and when they do, as long as they have just a little bit of spark in them, you know, a little bit of the gift of life, they're able to produce the light. I'm not entirely sure how we make them, to be honest. It's something that is they deal with all of that up at the Salt Lord's Rest. That's where they make them, I think.
Yeah, makes sense. I have another question. Only, have you? We found a really weird friend. Well, not friend. A little bloke down the road. Have you heard of the Masked Bandit?
You see him kind of like his eyebrows kind of like go down a little bit, and his like Yes, yes, I have heard of this man. Unfortunately, he tends to prey on people who are kind of hot. I take it that you have come across him?
Well, yeah, we can say that. Yeah, I don't know if we came across him or he came across us, but he was funny. I liked
Tell
him.
me, did you kill the bastard?
Mhm.
No, we couldn't. You can see we are quite, you see, dumb.
I wouldn't say that. Well, I don't really know you well enough to be honest, but you seem like good enough people. It is a shame. I'm sure some other friendly people are going to run afoul of him before justice catches up with him.
Okay. Do you have any questions, Idris?
Oh no, and she looks back to Hawk. Let's drink one more.
Hawk is already, you can see, like, he's got like 5 of the bottles in front of him, and he's just like, I'm way ahead of you.
What
I'm keeping on drinking with him.
what time
Try
is
to
it now?
keep up.
Sorry?
What time is it now?
It's probably like late morning, probably about 11 o'clock in the morning. Well, as much as there is time as a relevant concept in the Underdark. Like,
Okay. So, you see, easy questions, easy answers, and we have a show tonight. I put in your hands like the amazing job of advertising this. We can meet here probably later and
yes.
kick off the party.
It sounds perfect. I will, give me a moment. And you can see he goes over to, there's like a cupboard which is along the back of the bar, and he like pulls it open, and you can see inside there's like a really fancy like set of clothes, like red and gold silks, and in the middle of them like a humongous like Jacobean ruff, like, and he's just like, tonight's play.
Do you have another one of those?
He looks back at you and he's just like, you think I'm an amateur? And then he like puts it down. There's another one in blue and gold behind it, and then another one in green and blue behind that one. And he's just like, take your
My
pick.
fit in one.
I like it. We have to
Can
find
I
the name.
combine it with my armor? Can I somehow make it like work with my armor? Since I like to wear it.
I
I
want
like
to be the dancer with my family at the bar.
He has a look at you, Idris, and is just like, one moment. And then he starts kind of like chucking like bits of clothing kind of over his shoulders, and eventually he manages to grab a very fancy like large ruff that will fit around like your armor around your neck. It's just
perfect.
God.
for you.
Thank
We're gonna
you.
be stars tonight. Let me
Yes.
think of a name, and we're done.
I will stay here and help him get ready. I don't like this place. I stay here in the pub. I feel good here.
Idris will be really drunk.
And I will accompany Hawk.
So, back over on the other side of town, Alessia and Vixen, you are heading towards Thorvald's Tinctures. It takes you a little while to kind of figure out how the addresses work around here, because it gives you like a vague idea of the area, but it doesn't tell you much more than that. It tells you that it's in the Three Bridges, but other than that, nothing else. But after about kind of 10 minutes of looking, you find yourself outside a pretty decently made stone building. One of seemingly the only stone buildings that you've seen while you've been here. It seems to be about 2 or 3 floors high. There's a large smokestack on the top of it, which is bellowing a kind of grey smoke with occasional puffs of black. And you can see a little bit of almost like like a long shaft of wood that comes out from the side of the building and down into some of the water that's running by, and then there's a large water wheel that's kind of being turned by the natural movement of the river. And outside you can see a metal sign that says Thorvald Tinctures and Tinkery.
Okay, I'm guessing it's a shop, so I'm just going to walk in.
Okay.
I'm coming with you.
Will you fit through the door?
Okay. So when you head inside, you are hit by kind of a wall of sound. The combination of cogs turning, hammers hitting metal, the sound of flames from various different ovens and kilns and forges and similar kind of things. And in amongst all of this, you can see the shop seems to go back quite far, to the point where it looks like it maybe goes back a bit further than the outside of the building should allow it to. When you start to look around, it takes you a little while, but this building is definitely larger on the inside than it is on the outside.
That's hardest.
Can I say it? Bigger in the inside.
At this point, like there's someone who's kind of like bustling out of the door behind you, looks a little bit covered in mud, who's holding like a bundle of wood and metal, and just kind of tuts and just goes, "Tourists," just kind of walks past you. But yeah, as you look further into the workshop, you can see a series of what look to be gnomes, kind of working various different elements of this forge. You can see a few of them are kind of poring over the blueprints of something and kind of pointing at various things, until one of them kind of grabs the entire thing and then turns it upside down and then goes, ah. And then they go back to 3 or 4 of them basically start riding up the side of these cogs as they are turning to get to like a little walkway, and then start wandering along that walkway.
Cool.
And then standing behind a counter, a small wooden counter, seemingly sitting on quite a high stool, you can see what looks like a pretty old dwarf. He has a greying beard and quite long grey hair that seems to be kind of greased back with what looks to be kind of dark oil, possibly something to do with some of the machinery around him. He's got a pair of goggles, quite similar to the ones that Gimbal wears, kind of like attached on his forehead as well. You can see that he is fervently in the middle of reading what seems to be 4 or 5 different books just on the counter. He seems to turn the page of one, read a page or so, look to the other, turn the page of that one. And when he does turn the page, you notice that his entire arms, which are left bare up to the shoulders, are covered in a sleeve of tattoos that look like runes. Both of the arms. And he just continues reading this book as you guys look around.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
I just I don't know how to say this, but I'm assuming I'm super tall, so I just like to see like this to talk to him like to his face.
He's in the middle of reading, and kind of like his eyes flit up for like a second. He looks at you, Vixen, and you can see he touches his chest and just says, My utmost apologies. I did not know I was speaking to an esteemed Silk Mother. 8 blessings to you. 8 blessings.
You're very welcome. May our dark mother watch over you. I see you like reading.
Of course, the pursuit of knowledge is the most noble of pursuits.
Might you know this book? I slap it on the counter in front of him.
He has a look at it for a second, and then he turns it over, sees the maker's mark, and says, "Yes, it's definitely one of ours. Where did you find this?"
On a corpse, about 4 miles from here.
A corpse? What?
It was a letter.
A letter?
Yes, might you know who it's addressed to? I hand him the letter.
He has a quick skim through the letter. You can see it takes him maybe like 2 seconds to read the entire length of this extremely long letter and just go like, vroom. He's just like, I can't say I recognize the handwriting, though. And he opens up and goes, Dwarvish. Yes. Someone making notes. Oh, I had wondered what had happened to him. I certainly created this book. I made it as a journal. We have a wide range of books available for sale. If you perhaps were looking for ones yourself, but this I sold to a rather foolish young gentleman by the name of Sindri. He. And you can see him looking like he wants to say something, but he's kind of in the back of his head thinking, "Oh, I don't want to say this, but I'm gonna have to, aren't I?" He's just like,
Get out, man.
He works for Roku.
Okay. Who is Roku?
She runs the she runs the herbal remedies shop down in the South Pools.
Right.
I'm assuming that this young gentleman, from the contents of this diary, went out to try and find some more useful herbs for her or similar. I don't know. None of my business, really.
Is she the woman who's addressed the letter?
Oh, no. But I have no idea who this Valencia is. Never heard of her in my life.
Maybe she would know.
Maybe she would know.
Perhaps. At any rate, I think she would probably be happy to... Well, happy not necessarily the word. She would rather know what happened to her hapless young apprentice rather than simply have him be a missing person.
Yes, I will tell her. Well, while we're on the subject of the book, having, not being a dwarf myself,
Mm-hmm.
Can you read it?
Of course.
Do you know what it's about?
Yes, it's about plants.
It's just about plants.
Yes, he seems to have been making notes about different properties of local plants, possible uses in potion making, that kind of thing. Although, from what I can tell of the limited alchemical knowledge I have, I've only got the one university degree in that one. Most of his notes are garbage.
Fair enough. Fair enough, say no more. There was one more thing. On our way here, we passed what looked to be a golem.
Golem.
Some sort of robotic creature.
I'm actually carrying it, actually.
No.
Why not?
You.
It's in my bag.
Could you
Shut
tell
up.
me? Tell me more, perhaps. He shuts all of kind of the books that he's got, files them away under the desk, and he goes up to a very large bookshelf that seems to span possibly like an entire 3 floors up, and
Okay.
he steps on a little step ladder and presses a couple of buttons on it, and it starts like rising up, kind of like. And he starts pulling a few books off the shelves, and then it goes back down again, and he's just like, what kind of golem? Do you think it was metallic, stone, wooden? Yes.
Alicia,
I am carrying that big bag with him. So can I ask him, like, do you have a big space where I can show it to you?
He kind of gestures to the whole situation around him, and he's just like, my very large friend, as you've probably noticed, space is somewhat of a surplus for us here.
Okay. So then, can we go outside, or is there a backyard?
No.
Or something?
No,
take,
please.
take it out in here. Take it out in
Please,
here.
there is plenty of room
Oh,
here, is what I'm intending to say.
Yeah,
Sorry, I
basically,
sometimes wax a little bit lyrical.
I help. I started pulling from one arm, and basically take it out in the middle of.
When he catches sight of the face of this creature, his eyes go like wide, and he immediately puts on the goggles, and you can see that his eyes seem to be magnified in the goggles. He's just like, it's just like, oh, tell me it isn't true. And he like wanders over and he starts kind of like poking at it, and like says, "Can you get it out of the backpack completely?"
Yeah, of course. And then I'll just take it
And
and sit him like this.
He wanders over and he starts kind of like examining some like small parts of it. Like he has a look at like the back of the hand, kind of starts moving the fingers to see how the articulation works on it. It's just like fascinating. Oh, wonderful!
That's what Idris
wonderful.
said.
Oh, and then he walks around the back and says, "Now, if I'm correct in my assumption, then around here that serial number, wonderful, absolutely brilliant, wonderful. This is an original Gen 4. Haven't seen one of these in forever. But tell me, where did you find this?"
On the way here,
In the
it
woods.
was pretty beat up, covered in moss. It had been there a long time.
Oh yes, it would have been.
We did get it moving.
You got it moving?
Yeah. It was also listening to instructions, but it needed some sort of passcode or password, and we don't know what that is.
Tell me,
Until it ran out of power.
how did you manage to get it moving?
A friend with us, not with us right now, but used some magic, and it brought it back to life for a little bit.
Interesting. Would you permit me to perhaps try and see if I can get it to move?
Absolutely. Do you want to work on it for a while? We can go and deliver the letter and come back and see how far you've got with your progress.
The moment that you say like, "Would you like to work on it?" like he basically like he runs up and like hugs you for a second and then like breaks up and just like, "Oh, sorry.
I will tell you though, if you say where it came from, or you use it or break it in any way, I will come back and gut you."
Yeah.
Oh, trust me, if I broke this magnificent creature, this magnificent machine, I would do far worse to myself than you could ever do to me.
Glad to hear.
Looking at you, and I look at him like this.
He looks up at you and he looks like briefly worried for a second. He's just like, yes. Anyway, give me 1 day. Give me 1 day,
Okay.
and I will see what I can do.
Where's the local pub?
Oh, that's down in the Gold Vale, the Sultan Sake. Bit of a dump, personally, I believe, but, jolly enough.
Does it have board?
No, I'm afraid. There isn't really much in the way of places to stay around here. You could try. There's a few different places that the sailors tend to stay at, the mud docks, but they're not necessarily the nicest of establishments. He kind of leans in, and you can see he has this look on his face of just kind of like a little bit of disgust, and he just says, "They're brothels."
Oh, I see. That doesn't worry me much. All right. Well, thank you. I didn't get your name.
Of course you know. I am Thorvald himself.
Oh, you are? Oh, of course.
Yes.
That makes sense. Okay, right. Well, we'll be back then. Or if you find anything out in the meantime, you can catch us at the pub. We'll probably be there.
I will probably send one of my associates. I don't tend to leave the shop these days.
Wow, busy man like yourself. I'm not surprised.
Of course, work. There's always so much time and, well, so little time and so many books.
Well, at least you have something to sink your teeth into at the moment.
That I do. That I absolutely do.
Okay, we'll leave you to have some fun. Take care.
Yes, you take care of yourself. 8 blessings.
Bye.
As you leave, you immediately, like, as you're turning to go, you hear him shouting in Halfling, and a small squad of about 5 or 6 different gnomes appear, and he just starts kind of, like, pointing, and you can see them, like, dragging it, like, one step from, like, heave, heave, like, into the back of the shop.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
So lovely.
So yeah, are you guys heading to the pub?
Yeah, we're going to head to Roku's Remedies first.
Yeah.
Okay.
If it's not far from there.
It's not too far. It's probably about 20 minutes walk. It's about the same distance from Roku's Remedies. It's about the same distance to go to the Sultan Sake. So yeah.
Yeah. We'll head there first then.
Yeah. So yeah, as you head to Roku's Remedies, you enter an area which seems to be much like the North Pools where you were earlier. You leave the kind of cobblestones of the Three Bridges district and head further down, and you get more to mud and small pools where they do kind of rock pool fishing and similar. Back to the squat thatched roofs and mud brick houses and similar, until eventually you reach one in this area which appears to be 2 of these huts that seem to have been kind of joined together with a small section between them. Fairly small kind of place. It's gonna be a little bit tough for Alessia to fit in any of the things around here.
Okay.
It's doable, but you very much have to be, like, really crouched down to fit through these doors.
It's fine. I just walk like this.
Mm-hmm. When you step inside, whereas with Thorvald's, a wall of sound hit you, with Roku's, like, a wall of smells hit you. Of drying herbs, smoke, various different. You get a very strong sense of sea salt. You get the smell of cinnamon and garlic and cloves and ginger. You get sweet cloying smells. You smell aniseed, licorice.
Would you say it's quite overpowering for a sensitive nose?
Oh, definitely.
Achoo!
When you start sneezing,
like doing
mm-hmm.
like do everything, sneezing, everything. That's weird.
When you start sneezing, suddenly you hear kind of like a bang, like there's a small table, almost like a counter, and you get the sense that someone's just hit their head on it. It's just like, oh, my apologies. Just give me a second. And then popping up from underneath, you see a very slender figure who has features that look almost kind of like a humanoid deer. A very kind of like a soft pink nose, long pointed ears that kind of droop back and over the shoulder.
That's so cool.
You can see kind of like tufts of little kind of red hair kind of around going down the back. They look to be like very thin, like probably unhealthily thin, in your opinion. And they're wearing a fairly simple kind of cloak and a small kind of rough tunic. And they're holding what looks like a little mortar and pestle and are in the middle of grinding something in it. And they're just like, welcome. 8 blessings. 8 blessings.
8 blessings to you.
Yes. How can I help?
I believe you had an apprentice. I'm sorry, could you bear with me a minute? Achoo! Achoo!
I did. Sindri, what?
Unfortunately, we passed his body on the way here. All that we could find was this book, and I passed her the book on plants. And this letter, but we have no idea who he's addressed it to. And I passed her the letter. I grabbed my cape and I'm like holding it over my nose though while I'm speaking, so it's a bit muffled.
She picks up the book and the letter, and you can see her kind of like looking back and forth between them, like not really sure what to do with them. She's just like, you found him. What happened?
We couldn't tell. He'd been there a while, but something. I don't know if foul play. I don't know if just an accident.
Woods are dangerous.
Yes, they are. I told him not to go. I said I'd go
I'm
myself.
very sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
We wanted to let the person his letter was addressed to, we wanted it to reach them.
I will... give me a moment. And you can see her kind of like wiping away, kind of like... You know when someone isn't quite crying yet, but they're already kind of just kind of like...
Aww.
And you see her read through the letter, and when she gets to the bottom, she's just like... Valencia. The name rings a bell, but of course, yes. I'm sorry. This letter is intended for, I believe, a lady that he met whilst abroad.
Ah, gosh.
Yes, he had this, frankly, a schoolboy crush on her. I don't think he actually ever spoke to her. I think he just saw her, or maybe met her once. I don't know. But as far as I can tell, she lived somewhere in House Ledelazy, I think in the Taveo. But I don't know. I'm sorry. Well, thank you for returning this to me. At least maybe some of his notes might be of use to me. And she starts leafing through them, and she finally gets to one of the last pages, and she like frowns at it, and she's just like, yes, I think I know what happened to him.
Oh no.
I'm afraid he sampled one of the plants that I told him he should not.
Oh.
Poisoned himself.
Unfortunately, yes. Always was
Sometimes
a slow learner.
You can't get the help.
Scientist.
Well,
Like,
it seems I am in
so
need of a
small
new
and so
assistant, perhaps. Do any of you have any particular proclivity for herbalism?
I cover my nose.
Yes. And then she looks up at you, Alessio, and just says, and I'm afraid if I hired you, I'd probably have to build an extension. Sorry. Gallows humour. Gotta laugh or you'll cry, you know.
Well, we'll take the letter. Maybe in passing we might pass through there and be able to find out who it belongs to.
You're very kind. Thank you.
I'm sorry to have given you bad news today.
Well, I had always assumed that something terrible had happened to him, at least now I know. And I'd much rather he die this gentle death than meet some grislier end.
Yes. It is dangerous out there at the moment.
Yes. Did you hear about all that business in Sakani?
Oh, you've heard.
Yeah,
We heard something on the way. We weren't quite sure as to what was going on. What have you heard?
Oh, some terrorist attack similar. I don't know. I hear they caught them and executed them though, so that's good.
Oh, well, that's good. Yeah, don't want terrorists running around.
No, of course that'd be terrible. Though I don't think you'd see many terrorists around these parts. Unless you want someone to, I don't know, burn down the greenhouse.
Well, little chaos here and there isn't too terrible.
If you say so.
It'll be entertaining.
Perhaps. You can see she's looking a bit uncomfortable. Make a insight check.
Ooh, okay.
Oh, you just see straight through herself. At various points during this conversation, she has been like eyeing your amulet and looking a bit kind of like shifty. And you notice that she is not wearing an amulet.
Ooh.
Yeah, I see you don't follow the preachings of our good Dark Mother.
You see like well, it seems appropriate to say a deer in headlights at this point. Immediately she like reaches down and she sees she's not wearing the amulet and she's just like, oh no, I definitely not. I only I must have left it in the back. Just give me a second. She's clearly lying to you.
Listen, you're a delicate thing. I can see you're quite frail. You don't need to lie to me. I'm more intrigued as to how you're keeping shop in such a strong place with quite well-seated beliefs, and yet you're in one piece. You're quite interesting.
Make a persuasion check.
With all my good rolls so far, this is going to suck. I know it is. Oh, it's not too bad.
15. Yeah, I'd say she's pretty much terrified of you, so she's gonna like say whatever you want. Oh, when Tammy gets back, of course. So yeah. Okay.
Are you watching? Sorry, gone wrong.
It's okay.
Technical difficulties. Give me one moment.
It's fine. So I am looking around the shop, like looking at different types of plants, like being curious. While you chat about your thoughts.
Sorry about that.
She as she's looking very uncomfortable, she eventually is just like, I'm useful. Let's put it that way. I am able to provide potions and other such useful things to the people around here, and I keep the workforce healthy. Sometimes I don't ask for payment. You know, they're my friends. They're the people that I live with. The closest thing I have to family around here. So if I'm going to help one of them, sometimes they don't have the gold to pay, and sometimes I don't ask them to. And because of that, none of them have reported me to Glauric yet.
I shan't be doing so. You have a business, you're useful. You're interesting and a bit frail.
Thank you. You have shown me a great kindness today.
No, don't be silly. I haven't shown you a kindness. I don't know. You intrigue me. You're quite sweet, really. I'm afraid I do feel bad for having brought you bad news today. I would suggest you be careful. But you know where you are.
Yes. I will go and put my amulet on any minute now. Just as much as it pains me. Perhaps it is safer.
It wouldn't hurt you to go and pray at the church.
You can see that she is looking awkward again. Make a persuasion check with advantage.
Ooh. Yes.
Okay. I cannot pray to Lolth, because if I did, then I would not be able to continue in my line of business as it currently is. She kind of walks over to a bookshelf, removes one of the small leather-bound tomes that she's got there, and you can see that inside there's a small hollow that's been cut out, and you can see a symbol in there. It looks slightly like an anvil, and it's made out of silver with various different like kind of Celtic knotwork on it. And she says, "I'm afraid my personal beliefs would not allow me to."
Right, I see. Well, I'll leave that down to you. I'm sure you, your service to people in the town will probably. I'm sure people can turn a blind eye. As you run this shop,
Yes.
I do wonder. Do you know much about animals, or is it only plants?
Animals. Yes, I know a fair amount about animals. Why do you ask?
I take my egg out of its little pouch, and I show her the egg. Obviously, this is not a normal egg. I'm sure you'll be able to tell that by first glance. What I would like to know is, do you have anything available that may help make it more comfortable?
I'm taking one of those two.
Would you mind? And she kind of reaches her hand out to kind of like see if you're going to hand her the egg.
I don't hand her the egg, but I let her put her hand on top of the egg.
Okay. When she touches it, she's like, "Okay. Definitely warm-blooded. So, pretty thick shell as well. I don't think you need much in the way of shock absorbency on that one." And then she looks up towards you, Alessia, and just says, would you mind if I examine yours as well?"
I will take it and just put it like this, like so she can see but not touch.
She kind of looks at you just like, I need to assess some of the properties of the egg, and I can't do that unless I can touch it.
I just make it closer, but with the eye like looking at her, like staring at her, like don't do anything back to my egg.
She looks like hesitant. She's like, "Okay." She reaches out and when she touches the egg, she's like, "Interesting. They look identical, but this one is cold-blooded." This is very, very different. I've never come across something like this before. Give me a moment. And she wanders into kind of the back room of the shop, and you hear her kind of rummaging around for a second until eventually she comes out with two cloaks, one of which appears to be just a normal kind of a normal kind of burlap material, and the other which seems to be made of the same material, but is lined with like sheep's wool on the inside. And she says, "Well, yours appears to generate its own heat, so merely keeping it padded should be good enough." And hands Uvixen the unkind of insulated one, and hands the insulated one to you, Alessia, and says, "This one, I believe, is not currently producing its own warmth. I'll be honest, I don't know precisely what creature is going to come of this. So the best thing that I can suggest is if you keep it in this, if it's supposed to stay cold, then it will stay cold. If you're supposed to stay warm, it will stay warm."
Okay. Thank you.
Of course. And on the house.
No, don't be silly. How much for them?
You have already come to me today and delivered to me news upon
Should
the
we
sad
ask
fate of
for
my
one
friend.
for Idris?
She has to touch it. You
Yeah.
can invite her to the pub.
But we don't know you're throwing a party.
No, but just in general.
If she hears about it and we see her at the party, we'll point her out.
So she just says, you have already given me news as to the sad demise of my foolish assistant.
And you have also told us how much business you have lost. Helping people. So just name a price.
Uh, 2 gold each.
I give her 5.
You,
I
you,
give her two.
you see her looking at this amount of money, and she's just like, I. You see her like starting to get up like 3 to give back to you, just like I can't.
Take it.
I give her two, and I ask her if she needs any help carrying anything, some stuff somewhere.
Not at the moment. If you're around tomorrow, perhaps I need to move some goods up to the Songbird Fields and back. But please, you have been kind enough to me. Just
We'll be here tomorrow. Alicia, remember to come here tomorrow and help her.
Sure. We will.
Right. We're sorry to have given you the bad news. Thank you for the pouches. We will leave you to your herbs and things.
As you're leaving, she just says, "There's one more thing, please," and kind of beckons for you to like come close. You have been kind to me, so I will attempt my best to warn you. You're obviously not from around here. Don't trust Glauric. No matter what he says, don't trust him.
Glad.
Who is Glauric?
Glad.
Glauric, he is currently the preacher of the Church of Loth here.
Right.
He never used to be. He isn't even from around here. He arrived about a year and a half ago, and he killed the previous one.
Okay. It's good to know.
Isn't that normal behavior for that church?
Mm-hmm.
He also
This
killed...
may have been an interesting visit.
He also killed a great many people here in the town. People
Also
who
normal.
he said were heretics, who weren't true believers in Loth. And I know the people around here. They're good. They're honest. They're not heretics. Even if I disagree with what they believe in, I know they truly believe it. But he killed them anyway.
Thank you for this information.
Just, if you can, steer clear of him. And if you can't, just keep your head down.
I will speak to. I will pray for guidance. Actually, on that one.
You want to pray?
Yeah. Can I do it here? Is it too herby?
You'll probably want to step outside.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to step outside. I bow to her and thank her, and I step outside.
Make one last perception check.
Ooh, okay. Ooh, not as good.
Okay. She puts like a hand on your shoulder and is just like, thank you for the kindness. And then she goes back to she picks up the mortar and pestle that she was grinding before you guys came in. So you guys can head back outside, and you said you wanted to pray for guidance?
Yes.
Okay.
What was his name?
Glauric.
Glauric.
Glaurik.
I'm going to write that down. Glaurak?
Ik.
Ik.
Glauric.
Glauric.
Yep.
Okay.
So, when you pray, give me just a second. You find yourself in the familiar space in front of the Spider Queen herself. And as you're standing there, sorry, I'm getting echo from you, Tammy.
Sorry.
It's alright. Come back, it's fine.
Right, bear with.
Just appreciate some spooky music for a minute.
Is that better?
That's better. No, it's not working. Sorry, it's echoing. I'll just shut off the music. The music is too loud. It's coming through your headphones to the thing.
Sorry.
It's fine. Set the tone anyway. You find the form of the Spider Queen in front of you. Surrounding you are various different spiders skittering from place to place, weaving webs.
Mm-hmm.
And she looks into your eyes. You see the plain black of hers staring at you. And she just says, "Been doing a little bit of digging, have we?"
Yes. What do you make of this Glauric?
I will tell you this. He's not one of mine.
Then he's not needed.
Perhaps. However, his actions have caused a bit of chaos around here. And I've been receiving a lot more tribute from the people around here recently. Whilst he may not actually be one of mine, perhaps it doesn't matter so much. I'm still getting the worship. He may get a little portion of it for himself. Personal, vain glory. But I'm still benefiting overall.
All right. Whatever Mother wants.
make of it what you will.
If
you
you're
could find a
fine
way-
with... Sorry.
If you could find a way to remove him from the situation and allow for the same amount of respect to be shown to me, I'm happy for you to do so. After all, liars never prosper. Well, unless they're mine.
Mhm.
But if you'd rather just leave it as it is, I won't blame you.
I don't know. I think I can cause a stir. And still get you enough followers. I'm sure there are people who would be grateful of the position and follow you loyally.
Hmm.
Perhaps I need to seek out them.
He is surrounded by true and loyal followers. They simply do not realize that he might not be quite so genuine in his own beliefs and preachings.
Are there any that you have your eye on?
There are 8.
Okay.
You will know them when you see them.
I look forward to it. Thank you, Dark Mother.
As always, my child. And one last thing.
Oh,
You haven't forgotten about Jenkins, have you?
no, I have not.
Good.
I have something planned for that whelp tonight.
Good. Well, go forth. And then you are back in your own space again.
Lovely. Fabulous. Oh, this will be fun. Okay, I turn to Alyssa. Shall we go to the pub then?
Sure.
Yeah, let's go.
A pub is always a nice way to get together.
So, you guys head down to the Sultan's Sake. At this point, it's got back to evening again. When you manage to finally get to the Sultan's Sake, you can see that people are kind of gathering around the outside. A fair amount of people. A fair amount of people seem to be waiting outside, and they seem to be staring at posters, like bits of paper that have been kind of like nailed to the outside. And you see that written in almost kind of like the semi kind of Japanese script look that you can see of is the kind of the written form of the Drow language. You can see like inked on it and brushed on the word "The Mudlarks live tonight."
The Mudlarks.
And you can see a very rough-looking sketch of a dragonborn who appears to be wearing like a weird Jacobean rough like outfit. He appears to be holding a skull in one hand and panpipes in the other. And you can also see what you're pretty sure is a drawn representation of Elend and Idris, both also with Jacobean ruffs and their own skulls. Just only like...
So this is what we can see, right?
Yep.
Okay. Alicia, does that look like Elend and Idris in that picture?
I think so. What these guys have gone on?
Oh my god! Right, let's get to the pub. Let's see what.
Let's get drunk. I need them to be drunk to process this.
Okay. So you guys managed to make your way inside. You the inside of it seems to be pretty kind of bustling. There's a lot of movement, a large number of people. The space is pretty much filled at this point, and you can see a small group of tables seem to have been pushed together against one of the far walls to form a kind of makeshift stage with like some chairs acting as little steps up onto it, and you can see that lanterns seem to have been kind of placed around the edge of the table stage to provide some lighting, and currently there seems to also be a portion of it which has been covered by a curtain, which you can tell looks basically like a tapestry from one of the walls that's just been kind of like draped over one of like the rafters of this roof. And you can see a large number of people kind of standing there muttering just various different things, just like, don't even know who the Mudlarks are. Why are we even here? What is this? I know, but it's decent drinks. Yeah, it's alright, it's fair. Or, like various of these kind of conversations going on, people muttering. You can hear one person at the back, a familiar voice. You can hear the voice of Thorvald going, oh, but of course, I liked the Mudlarks back when they did their original stuff, you know. You know, their first versions of the folk songs were highly superior. You know, gone a little bit down in the middle, but they're on their way back up again now. I hear. Very good, very good. So as the late evening turns to kind of night.
Oh, can I use the time between that?
Yeah, sure. Okay,
so we were getting ready, right?
Yep.
I want to get to the point where people start together, but it's not it's enough time to have to do something.
Yeah, sure.
Because I want to use, finally, the joy around me to sit down with Jenkins in a quiet place and try to get him and me to talk to Dolara, because I want to try that whole time.
Yeah, sure.
Can I do that?
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, I'm looking for a quiet place, and I'm looking at Jenkins. I tell him, Jenkins, can you feel how much joy and light we brought to this sad and dark?
Yeah, this is nice. I like it here.
You like it?
Yeah.
Great. So I think it's the right timing and the right surrounding to try to connect to Dolara and ask her how the night will go, how much joy we will be able to bring, and what should be our next steps.
Okay. So, like, what do I do?
Okay, come with me, and I look for a quiet place where we can sit down.
Mm-hmm.
And
there's an easy enough to find little spot. Just while kind of like people are starting to filter in, there's still a table that's kind of like got some space on it at the far end.
Okay, and I look at him and I tell him to give take one of my hands. And I take my other hand and put it on. He wears like the sign of Dolara, made of wood, and I put my hand on it and cast light and press against it. And I close my eyes and tell him, close your eyes and believe. And then when it starts to glow, I connect to Dolara and ask her to also talk to Jenkins so that we both can connect at the same time with holding hands.
Okay. Make a persuasion check with advantage.
Okay.
Nice.
So you can see Jenkins. At first, he's just like, I don't think it's work. And then halfway through the word working, he just kind of goes like,
oh. Now what do we see?
And you can hear him kind of you can see him kind of like nodding, and he's smiling, and as he does so, the light on the symbol starts to glow brighter.
Oh, lovely.
And you can see him kind of like he eventually kind of like he just erupts in like joy stuff, just kind of like.
I want to know what's going on. Can I connect? Like, can we make like a chat room with Dolara?
Sure. So you log into Discord with Dolara.
Yes,
and,
I log into the Discord of Dolara.
Yeah. So, what you see is an image that's being given to him in his head of him riding on a horse in the sunlight, just going wherever he feels.
Nice. Is Dolara there? Can I talk to her?
Yeah. What do you want to say?
Oh, I can see her. How does she look like? Is she pretty?
Dolara, it's kind of difficult to see her as a person because when you look in her direction, it's just like blinding light.
Oh, so she's the light in
You
person.
can see like a vague shape, kind of like a vaguely humanoid woman shape. You can't see any specific features. It's just like the light is so bright around her.
I look up to her. Hello, my goddess. Long time no see.
It's good to see you again, my child.
Yeah, we had a long dark time, and it's time to bring some joy into this world.
I see you have already been doing well in doing so with this one.
Yes, I give my best. Do you have any advice on how I could bring even more joy in this place? Do you want me to do anything here? Is there anything I should know?
This town is going through a dark time. A long
I realize
dark time.
that.
If it is possible, find the cause. But for now, merely some joy, some merriment.
As always, then I won't steal your time and go back and bring the joy to the people. Oh, but let Jenkins enjoy it a little bit longer. He really needs it.
Of course.
Jenkins riding around. Ooh, ooh.
Yeah. So as you kind of leave and kind of take your hand away from the amulet, it still continues to glow with its own light, and you can see Jenkins kind of like reaches up and touches it with one of his hands, and you can see him still kind of like smiling, like he's stopped like full belly laughing at this point, but he's just kind of like smiling.
Are you ready to bring some joy to this people?
Let's do it.
Yes. Then we are ready. We're like hyped up.
Okay. So the show begins. The curtain raises, by which I mean the Dragonborn pulls on the other end of it so that it kind of unravels over the end of the thing and just drops it on the floor. And he reveals that he is standing there. In one hand, he appears to have tried to kind of like form a skull from like a vaguely skull-shaped rock and some paint. And he's holding it aloft. And he stands there. You see like people go silent. Some of the lights around in the room kind of dim. The lights on the stage provide most of the lighting around. Ellen and Idris, what are you doing on the stage?
Oh, I'm glowing. And do you make some music, Ellen? I can sing.
I want to start like we have to start like big, like creating like my own voice through like it was like a speaker or something like really loud, like
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. I've seen some shady faces in this in this awful place. It's quite no offense, please.
You hear someone at the back of the room go, "Who you calling shady, dark elf?"
Well, you know, I'm no one to tell that. We live from, our families from killing each other, and that's even
I
sadder.
poke him and I tell him, just make some music.
Okay. Yeah, my colleague is right. We brought here the music. We've convinced your amazing bartender. I don't remember the name.
Koshka.
Oh, I want to
No,
touch
I
his
say I don't
skull.
remember the name. And he's actually great. I mean,
I touch his skull to make it glow. Cast light on the skull.
You hear a few people in the audience go, ooh.
It's a disco ball, and now let's the party begin.
Yeah, I love it.
okay, let's go. And I start playing like something really, like the most popular song, like the cheapest one you can find.
Okay. Yeah.
And I will try to tune in and sing with him.
But-
One of you make a performance check, and the other can roll to give advantage.
I will try to give advantage.
While this is going on, can I see Hawk anywhere in the crowd?
Oh yeah,
I
he's like right
definitely
up
give
at the beginning, like
advantage.
up the front next to like the stage, like with like a bottle in both hands, being like,
I have my bottle and just cheered him like, woo! And cheered the guys like, you're going to do great.
I
I'm great.
okay, you provide
Oh, I rose on
advantage.
fire.
Ella, you guys are putting
Slay
on
it.
an amazing show. Like from the very first moment, you can see this. The Dragonborn has obviously been like properly practicing most of the day, and like between you providing accompaniment on the lute and him playing the panpipes and Idris singing, you managed to get points where you've got like full like 3-part harmonies going on. Like
I can't believe that.
it's
Is
like
everybody dancing?
people are starting to dance. Like people are starting to form like almost like Scottish Highland dancing stuff going around. Like a circle forms and they start like doing
Can
the
you
whole
bring
like
your
dance around
ancestors?
dancing.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Am I drunk enough to get enraged on the jump on the
Dance floor?
scenario?
On the stage.
On the stage and get enraged.
Like the
Yes.
ancestors then.
So all my ancestors appear on the back and we can start dancing. Like making a choreography.
Okay. People seem slightly terrified for a second, and then they realize that they're just dancing. And after a little while, when you start kind of dancing along with the beat, your ancestors match the beat that you're dancing to.
But it's not like the war dancing, it's like something more with the music.
What do you want?
Like a
No,
like
more
a good
like
folk dance.
I don't know, more like
Yeah.
doing like the
And that only adds to the song, because some of the ancestors you see have things like war bagpipes and like their tiny folk drums, and they're like adding to the sound of it. This tiny
Big
hut
party.
is like just like emanating music all around. People start to come out from all of the different areas of town. Eventually, Vixen, you notice that Roku arrives and stands at the back with a small kind of glass, like not like tapping her feet along a little bit, but just kind of like appreciating from the back and smiling a bit.
Aw.
Make an insight check.
Who, me?
Yes.
Ooh, okay.
Okay. You notice that Thorvald and Roku, they're doing that thing where one of them will look at the other, and then as soon as the other one looks on, they're like, no, nope.
Okay.
that's cute.
While this is all going on, there is just as the end of a song comes along, people start to kind of cheer and clap, The dancing stops for a moment, and then an area at the back of the room lights up. And you see a woman that you don't recognise. Except Idris does.
Oh.
Okay.
Would you like to describe Emanora, please?
Oh yes, Emanora is quite slender and not as tall as Idris. She is half elf and black long hair with like purple parts in it, and her clothes are quite fancy.
Okay. A small kind of like a gap has formed around her of the crowd that she seems to have kind of like pushed her way into. And she seems to have kind of cast a small amount of light around her and is just staring directly at you, Idris. You standing there in the midst of singing, wearing a slightly ridiculous Jacobean ruff.
First she looks embarrassed, but then she thinks shortly about it, and then she's like shouting out "M!" and runs up to her straight and hugs her.
And that's where we're going to go for break tonight.
No!
Okay, we'll be back shortly, guys. So we'll catch you in a bit. Hello, everybody. We are back for part 2 of tonight's episode of Tales of Escuria. So, where we left off, our paladin had just leapt off the stage to hug the strange woman who has entered the pub. So, what happens next?
So like she's hugging her and lifting her weight up and like swinging her around 2 times, like really really happy. And then are the people around her quiet, or what? Are they still focused on the stage, or what happened basically?
Basically, everyone in the place is now quiet and looking your direction, except Hawk, who is still at the front going, "Yeah!"
Yeah, then Idris will just shout at them, move on. And since Emanora knows her well, she will cast prestidigitation and make some music so it can continue, like giving like a smooth fade into the next song. But she looks quite a bit annoyed. She's like rolling her eyes, but she's like, yeah, here you go.
Okay, I guess I look to the Dragonborn. I don't remember the name.
At this point, it's a character decision not to remember the name.
And like, come on. And I start playing some heavier music, like love song, famously worldwide, called "You Shook Me All Night Long."
Thou hast shaken me through the night.
Yes.
Yeah. The Dragonborn seems confused by all of this, and then just kind of shrugs and goes, and then goes back to playing. Most of the people seem to kind of like shuffle a little bit and then go back to watching the stage, and just kind of there seems to be a little bit less kind of energy. It seems like the energy's kind of brought down a little bit, but it's kind of like it's slowly building its way back up again. And the slow song gets a few of them kind of like just kind of swaying gently. So yeah. Jenkins comes walking over and sees the two of you hugging and is just like,
I have to introduce you to someone. She's like super excited. Look, this is Jenkins. And she walks and she like with her, she's strong enough to carry her basically. And she's like just taking her to Jenkins. Look, this is Jenkins. Emanora. Jenkins, Emanora. I met him on my way.
Jenkins just kind of like awkwardly does like the hi wave. Who? Nice to meet you. Who is she?
Oh, and Emanora will introduce herself. Greetings, I'm Emanora. I'm Idris. What am I? Where did you go? Why didn't you say anything?
Like
Idris looks over and is like getting red and is like, yes, that's quite a long story. So basically, that's my girlfriend.
Jenkins just kind of like looks up at her and is just like, looks between the two of you for a second and is just like, cool, I'm gonna get a drink. And he just kind of walks away.
Oh, but Jenkins, we have to tell you so much. I have to go back to the stage. Could you just accompany him and tell him what's going on? And Emanora looks over to her. You want to go back to the stage? I just arrived. Searched you for weeks. You really don't want to give me an explanation? Idris looks back at her. She's like, later. It's really important. It's really important. I really have to go back to the stage and help the guys. But we will talk after this night, okay? I swear. And she's just like retreating slowly direction to the stage, like.
Jenkins comes back and he's got like 2 bottles of like the sake and like holds one of them out to Emanora and is just like, so
Oh yeah, I can. She grabs the bottle. I can definitely use it. Let's sit down and talk while she is doing her thing, whatever it is. I guess you can also tell me what happened.
Well, I've only known her for, and you see him like count on his fingers, and there's a point where he's just like, about 8 days. She came and found me when I was in Sakani, and she and like he holds up his like holy symbol as like, she made me a paladin.
Evanora is just looking at him. She's thinking about it. You can actually see like she's processing this information. I'm not sure if that's why I love her or why she always drives me crazy. But I welcome you. I'm really happy that she met somebody. You know, it's interesting. You said she made you a paladin. She usually doesn't talk too much to other people, so excuse me if this is a weird situation. And she just starts to like talk to him and like tries to figure out who he is, because she's really confused, because she never had she was the only person in her life, and she's really confused about what the heck is going on.
So yeah, like Jenkins like tries to go like into more detail, like, oh, so like this happened, then she came to the house, and then like I felt like really good, and then she like told me that I could be like something better, and then we escaped, and there was a horse, but it wasn't a horse, it was a giant spider, and then it was a giant spider properly, and then there was someone floating, and then I think we had to leave the city, and then I think I took some drugs, but I didn't mean to take the drugs, and then we were in the woods, and there was a mushroom, and then we fought the mushroom, and we killed the mushroom, but then some other thing that was a kind of a mushroom but not quite the mushroom became not a mushroom anymore, and then it said thank you, and then we met a guy, and then we met some other guys, and then we were attacked by dog things, and then someone tried to rob us, and someone did rob us, and then what happened next? Then some eggs. Anyway, that's where we are now.
She just nods and is like, yeah, that's quite makes sense if I think about it. So you're basically her student now?
Yeah, that's I think I think that the word is disciple, I think.
Yes. I'm really happy that she made a friend. It's just quite confusing. What do you let's just have fun tonight. You know what? We will sort this out tomorrow. We will have enough time for it. Let's just have fun. And she orders one more drink for the both of them.
He very happily accepts the drink and is just like, yeah, fun's good, I like fun.
Do you want to dance?
Yeah, with
she hands him a hand. She wants to dance with him.
He looks confused and is just like, with you, do you think she'll mind?
Oh no, she won't.
Okay. And you can see like he stands up and he does like this like flourishy thing with his hand. Like you can tell this is someone who has been like trained how to do like court dances.
Aww.
She goes with it since she's also well trained. She just wants to make him feel comfy.
So yeah, in amongst this crowd of people who are basically like jumping up and down and like kind of whooping and stuff, the two of you end up doing like a semi-waltz type thing.
Can we see that from the stage?
Make a perception check.
Can we see what? Sorry, I didn't catch what he said.
Can we see that from the stage, like the scene?
Oh yeah.
You can see her underwear.
The whole time that you've been doing the song, your eyes have just been on Emanora, just like, what is going on here? I need to know.
Can we change to something like, can you feel the love tonight? Okay.
Yes.
Go ahead. I'm a boombox now.
Yes. This night canst thou feel the love begins to play. Yeah.
I'm gonna go join the fawn girl. hold on.
Roku.
Roku, yeah.
Yeah.
And you basically just go join her at her table. Roku, there's someone I'd like you to meet. They're a little busy right now. They're one of the people up on stage. But they also have an egg that you might want to be keen on having a look at.
Oh, another one.
Yeah, we might have to get hold of them after the show, though. I hope you're enjoying it.
Yeah, this is probably the most fun I've had in this tavern ever. It's usually a bit quieter around here.
You can hear Idris shouting in the back. 10 gold pieces for the one who manages to fight me in a, how do you call this, like, this hand fight
arm
where you
wrestle.
Strength fight. Yes.
Yes.
10 gold pieces who wins.
Can I say like 20?
Yes! Do it!
Go for it. And you
So
can
guys
hear
want to arm wrestle each
Emanora.
other?
Let's do it. And then you can hear Emanora saying to Daisy, let's go, we want to watch this. We definitely want to watch this. Let's go cheer.
You see some people like grab a table and kind of like shove it into the middle, put 2 chairs, and kind of like make space for you guys. So
I like it.
the two of you kind of like...
I just drink the rest of my whole drink and put it on the table.
Let's go for it. Let's go for it.
I don't want to have to. I don't know what's best.
You should both do a strength test.
Yeah, both of you do a strength check. It's going to be a series of strength checks, so you can go like back and forth. Okay, 14, 8. Okay. You get into position and you start. And Idris, you know you're pretty strong. You know you're pretty good at this kind of stuff. But at the very beginning, Alessia just kind of like does one of those like quick like movements and manages to get you like about a third of the way down to the table, and you manage to just about hold it there.
You can hear Emanora. Emanora just kicks against her chair. Don't dare to lose.
I warned you already.
Oh, it's perfect finally to see someone strong enough.
Both of you make another strength check. Oh.
Can Alicia get advantage because she won the last round?
No. This is going to keep going back and forth. So, Idris, with Emanora like kicking you, being like, "You better win." You're like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to win," and you manage to like back up to the top again.
You can see her light glow a little bit more, like the energy that she uses, like coming out of the light.
Hawk like runs over and he gets like right up on the table, like the level of the table, like his eyes are just like. Both of you make another strength check. Alessia, at the moment you were doing strength saves. They are a different thing.
Oh
yeah, that's something different.
Yes.
Oh, sorry. Where is it?
If you just click on the word strength.
Oh, there, I see.
The results would be the same regardless, but they are different. Oh. Okay, so you having managed to get it back up to the top, Alessia, you're like, okay, and then you're like, yeah, but now I'm gonna stop holding back, and just like, you are like, Idris, you are barely holding on. Your fist is about to touch the table. Both of you make another strength check.
Yeah, let it go.
Oh, mama.
Okay. So, just you're holding on with all the strength you've got, and then finally you just get like pushed back down onto the bottom of the table. Alessia, you let go and just kind of like you've
done well. It was a fair one.
Oh, Idris is excited
I'm proud of
about
you.
it. Idris is absolutely excited about it. She claps Alessia like, good job. That was exciting. Let's do this again.
Jenkins is like,
You owe her 20 gold for that, though.
Yes. She gives her
Jenkins
the
like
20
swaggers
gold.
up to the table, slightly drunk, and he's like, "My turn."
Oh, yes, Jenkins. Idris is like, yes, I will pay for him. I will definitely pay for him. And then Nora is like, no, I will pay for him. It's all good. I know you're traveling for a long time. And she also pays for Idris.
I'm ready.
She puts down like 40 gold she's slamming it, like super excited on the table. Let's go.
When they see the amount of gold on this table, a bunch of like the peasants gathered around just like, like there's I think one of them literally like turns around from the bar holding a glass and just like drops it, and it's just like, what?
I will pay drinks for everybody if I win that one.
Suddenly, most of the bar is like, yeah. Hawk like stands up and like claps his hands. He uses thaumaturgy to like make his hands like make it the claps like really loud, and he's just like, in the left corner we have the giant's blood, Alessia. And like people are cheering. Like, and in the right corner we have the young and upcoming Jenkins.
Idris is cheering really loud.
So, both of you make strength checks, I guess.
Strength check.
Yep. Okay. You're off to a good start again, Alessia. You manage to start pushing him down, and the people around the edge of the bar are just kind of like, come on. Everybody make another strength check, guys. Oh.
Not to fight.
Jenkins puts up a good resistance. Again, he's way back, like he's almost on the table again. And he's looking up, and he looks up at you, Idris, and looks over at Eminor, and is just like... like, just
they both stay there holding each other, like super excited. You can do it. Like a little fan club.
There's cheers all around the bar of like, Alessia. Like going at this point. One last strength check from both of you.
Oh God.
Yeah. She's unbeatable.
I think these people is thirsty.
Then bam, on the table. This time, like, when you go onto the table, like, the table itself, like, cracks a little bit. Just
oh, poor Jenkins.
Jenkins kind of, like, picks up his hand, and you can see, like, he's got, like, slightly bloody knuckles. He takes, like, 1 point of bludgeoning damage, and he's just like...
I'm sorry, mate.
And
you
he
will
just
grow,
walks up to
Jenkins.
you, and he grabs a bottle off the bar and just like puts it down in front of you. And he's just like, "You've earned it."
Obviously, I pay around for everyone.
Count the gold.
No.
For everyone in this bar, with the amount of money that you have now won from this, so that's 10 gold.
40.
And then another 40. You've won 50 gold on this.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say about 30 of that goes on drinks for everyone. But you still have 20 gold left over.
Yeah. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Where should I... Do I have to add it in there? Or is it...
So yeah. Over in the other corner of the bar... while all of this is going on, Roku is still just kind of sat there, waiting kind of patiently for all of this loudness to go away so she can listen to the music again.
So, Roku, what's with you and Thorvald?
What do you mean?
I noticed some glances. I met Thorvald earlier, and he did mention
to go to you about your assistant, because the book obviously had originally come from him. So we went to him first, seeing if he knew who the person was. It just seems like there's something going on. I just was a bit curious.
Yeah. She kind of like she looks a little bit sad for a second, like takes another sip of the sake and just like we oh, there's no use saying anything else. I love him.
Aww.
I'm pretty sure he loves me, but we can't.
Why not?
She kind of like picks up the little amulet that she's got and is just like,
No.
He's a wonderful man. He's very good to the people that he loves. He runs a wonderful business. And he is very faithful.
Well, maybe I can do you one more small favour. I get up and I walk over to Thorvald's table.
As you're doing that, she's just kind of like, what? No.
As I'm doing that, I'm literally going to shout over to Ellen, who's on the stage, in my most loudest voice. Ellen! Love song! And I'm going to go grab Thorvald, and I'm going to say, Thorvald, in order for me to leave you with the piece of work I've currently left you with, I need you to do me one favour. You see the lady over there, Roku?
Yes.
You must ask her to dance right now. Or I will take the robot away.
Immediately you see him like run over to her and just kind of like extend the hand and is just like, my lady, Roku, Miss, would you like to dance? And you see her kind of like, her cheeks just go like bright red. Like, the same kind of like red colour as her hair, and she's just kind of like, yeah. And then like they start to dance together. It's very awkward just because of the height difference between the two of them. When she was in the hut, you couldn't quite tell because she was like hunched over a little bit. She's about 7 foot tall. He is about 3 foot tall.
So precious.
So like he's like got his hands up like that. She's got her hands fully down like that, and they're just kind of like shuffling back and forth.
That's precious. Okay, while that's going on, I'm going to leave them to it, and I join Hawk for a drink and watch the arm wrestling.
Okay.
Can you? This is a bit of a rope, but can you tell them like I've talked to my god and she doesn't mind. Go on, something like that. So
I lied to them.
If she doesn't want to.
Yeah, I know. That would be really lovely.
I'm not going to lie to them. That's something they need to work out on their own.
Maybe the nicer god can help.
Yeah.
They just need a push.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, you leave them dancing together. Hawk is kind of at this point he's sat back at the bar. He's taking a bit of a breather from all of the screaming. He's at this point probably about 12 odd bottles in. He's just kind of like,
I think they're all quite drunk now.
I pat him on the back. Fancy another?
from you always.
Oh dear. I just literally lean over to the bar at this point and grab one.
Yeah. At this point, like the amount of money that has gone the way of this barman, he's just basically like, just take it. Like, you've paid for everything I have. and he's having the time of his life up on that stage, playing up a storm.
Idris grabbed Jenkins and Eleonora, and they dancing together like she's whirling them around, and is absolutely.
Are they going to be a couple of trees?
He's a child. She can, yeah. You have to imagine it like the parents dancing with their child. It's like.
I'm imagining like the two of you are like spinning in a circle, and like because he's sure to like at one point like his feet just leave the floor and he's just going round and round, just like. So yeah, that's happening in the other corner. Hawk is just kind of like drinking all of this in, like leaning there up against the bar next to you. Vixen is just like, I could get used to this. It's a good place, good people.
Yeah. I'm still, I don't know. Not sure whether a party drawing so much attention was a good idea or a bad idea, but we'll see.
You couldn't just stop the paladin of Dolara to throw a party.
I'm not going to worry about it right now. Everyone's having a good time.
We've been
So am I.
Yes, we've had quite a time the last few days. Blowing off some steam, I think, is a good decision. I mean, it's always a good decision in my opinion, but most of the time people think I'm probably wrong. So, this
absolutely
kind of,
right.
Seeing all this, it reminds me what I'm fighting for. You know?
What are you fighting for, Hawk?
Ooh.
For freedom, for everyone. If you imagine what these people are like today, with this joy, this love between them all.
It should be every day.
How good it would be when they finally have the shackles broken, when they can live like this whenever they want. Think of that.
Well, I'm living it right now.
Indeed you are. And may I say you are living it well.
Ah, thank you. I try. I am enjoying it, I must say.
Can Idris see Vixen sitting there and Hawk?
Yeah.
She grabs them. Don't sit around, grab a drink and dance.
I love the idea. I join them.
You find Vixen's actually quite light on her feet and her moves are quite elegant.
You'll find Hawk is just like stumbling blindly in whatever direction he gets pulled.
Can she get Hawk on
Can I
her
keep
shoulders?
Hawk in my arms and like just
Yeah, do that.
Yeah. You're spinning him round, and there's a moment when he like starts laughing, and he's like, I'm going to vomit so much.
Oh, dear.
I just leave him on the floor. Howdy!
Idris, who's your friend?
Oh, you mean, yes, she is, I have a question. Does Ellen know who she is? Oh, and is Lady Selvin around?
Ellen's still on the stage.
Okay, but he saw her.
Lady Selwyn and Gimbal are sat in one of the booths, and they seem to be having a serious conversation about something.
All right, so she's not really interested. All right, good. Yeah, she, she's my girlfriend for quite a long time. I'm not sure what she's doing here, but we will have a conversation about that later. Don't remind her.
How have you never mentioned that you have a girlfriend?
Oh, yes, it was so much going on, and to be honest, I shouldn't have left the place where I came from, so I thought I could go back fast enough so she wouldn't recognize it, but she did. Isn't she lovely?
Isn't she?
Yes.
Well, introduce us later.
yes. When we have time and the party is over, we can talk about everything. I don't think I will get around it, so anyway.
There's someone I need you to meet as well, actually. She can tell something about our creatures.
Oh, I think M could also help.
Well, you might find her quite fascinating. So I thought,
Yeah, I'm absolutely interested.
after the party, we'll grab her. She's currently busy at the moment.
That's great.
If you look over, she's now sat at a little table with just her and Thorvald, and they're just kind of like... They're doing the thing where they're both just kind of like watching the party and not really saying anything, but just kind of like...
Oh, but they're in each other's company. Win.
Absolutely.
So yeah, is there anything else anyone would like to do whilst the party is still in effect?
Oh, I think I did enough.
It was worth it for me.
I can definitely do this more often.
Okay. In that case, we have like a hard cut between like all of you like dancing. We can hear like the loud raucous folk music, and then suddenly it just cuts to like boomf. It's the next day. Like a bunch of people are just passed out on the floor. Ellen, you are waking up, and you still have like the weird Jacobean ruff on, and you just kind of. Looking around the bar, like you can see that most of the workers have kind of got up and left. There's a few that are kind of in states, just kind of like lying on top of tables.
Is any other person awake?
You can see over at the over on one of the other tables, you can see that Gimbal and Lady Selwyn are awake, and you can see it looks like Gimbal is in the middle of like packing up his traveling pack again. He wanders over to you, seeing that you're awake, and is just like, "Quite the party you put on last night."
Well, we don't have many opportunities for that.
Yeah, it's good. Bringing some happiness to people. It's a good thing to do. And between you and me, when I first met you, I didn't really think much of you. I think there might be something to you now.
Why do you say so?
You're doing all right, kid. You're doing all right.
And why this emotional speech now? I want to be obvious, but I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm not really going to get much of a chance to say much more to the rest of you. This is a bit of a goodbye for now. You see,
okay.
I promised that I'd get you out of the city. I promised I'd get you safely to here. And I did that. Your mother has paid me for it. And I guess I'm heading on my way. Your mother says that she needs some help getting to back to House Morevo safely, and she's offered me quite a lot of money to do that for her, so I'll be taking care of her. You don't have to worry.
Where are we inside this plan?
You don't fit inside this plan.
Okay, so are you saying that technically my mother is just selling us and putting our fate into the God's hands?
No. He looks around at kind of everyone here and says, "You know, I've only been travelling with you for a short amount of time, but you seem pretty capable of looking after yourselves. And from what little I know of you, I don't think you want to head back to House Morevo anytime soon.
I'll take that advice. That's mutual, I guess. I won't stop you. I mean, I like you. You're a good guy. I like pragmatic people. So, any other advices?
You see him kind of think for a second, then he says, "Take care of the rest of them. They'll take care of you back."
Okay, I like it.
Oh, and one last thing. He kind of like goes and picks up the pack. You can see your mother kind of like waiting to leave. He says, just one last thing. Don't cast shatter on people ever again." Got that?
I'll keep that in mind. Yeah.
Good. I'll head outside. I'll leave you two to whatever. And he just kind of heads out the door. And your mother is just kind of standing there. You can see that she seems to have recovered from the travels that she's been on. She seems to be back in kind of some decent looking clothing, though it seems to be a little less conspicuous than her previous dresses are. It seems to be a little more kind of... It's clearly nice clothing, but it's not so much like... Put it this way, it doesn't have anything which says House Moravo on it anywhere, which is good.
Okay, yeah. I got it.
And she's still for staff.
Turn my hand to Gimbal before he leaves. Like, I get that we have like some meters between my mother and I. She should be at the door, like, as I picture it.
Yeah,
and
all right.
Yeah, like shake hands with Gimbal. He turns, he goes with my mother, and I guess that I'm like waving. And when I don't want to say anything to her, like, and when they just get out and turn, I'm like making use of
Before all of this, just as you're about to leave, just as they're about to leave, your mother kind of looks over in your direction, and she just says, "Do you still have the ring?"
No.
She just kind of like shakes her head and is just like, "Fine," and then just leaves.
Oh God. I just ran to the door. Like, what happened with the ring?
She gave you the ring which previously had been your brother's.
Yeah, no, but like, what do you mean with the ring?
Oh, are you asking like her specifically or me?
Yeah.
Asking her.
Yeah.
He just says, "I wanted to make sure that you still had it, because even though I may be far away, and even though we may not always agree, you're still my family, Ellen. I want you to remember that. I will help you in whatever way I can. Whatever you've done before, whatever I've done before, let's put a line in the sand here, because we're all that we've got left."
Is he lying?
Sorry?
Is she lying?
Make an insight check.
Horrible.
You cannot get a read on her at all.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I'll save that matter. Maybe we can, explain our adventures to each other if we once meet again.
That would be nice. in the meantime, I hope to be back in Snow Harbor sometime soon. Hopefully I will be able to convince them of our innocence in all of this. Maybe be able to put a stop to this ridiculous war. I will try my best. And then maybe one day we can... I don't know. Maybe you can come back one day and take over. One day you're going to take over from me and you're going to run our branch of the house.
I start laughing. Well, you know that this is not how it's going to be. But, yeah. I can give you hope if you want to.
She looks at you and just says, like, did you know that your father never wanted to run the house either?
Oh. Do I know that? I guess no.
You won't have heard that before, no. Like, all you remember of your father is, like, he was, like, very business oriented. He was like, okay, we're doing this and we're going to be, like, he was, like, serious, but, like, he had a bit of a fun side to him. She just
And
says,
do you know if brother felt the same?
Kelvin took after me. He was a born politician. Your father took some convincing. And he had to be ready. You're not ready yet. I understand that. But one day I think you will be. And remember this.
Oh, so. Yeah.
Running the house means you get to decide how you run the house.
Oh, okay. This sounds interesting now. At least you... It feels like I can do things my way. Do I have like any clue of how many Maribo alive are still in the world?
Make a history check. Nope.
Oh god.
One thing. I will allow you to make an investigation check because your brother gave you a book which contains the family history.
Yeah, right. You're right. Where is it? Yeah.
Yeah. You're able to kind of get out the book and start leafing through it. From best you can tell, you haven't been in direct contact with many of the other members of many of the other kind of like branches of the house for a little while, but it seems like there are about 4 or 5 different Morevo families, one of which is the current ruler of the house, Lord Varmeyer. And then there's you, your branch, and then 3 others.
Okay. As they say, it's a long way to the top if you want to rock and roll. So I think that, yeah, maybe I'll go back to Snow Harbor someday, and I will show you that. Well, you can be proud of me.
You know, I can't believe I'm going to say this because I honestly wouldn't have believed it if you told me about 10 days ago that I was going to say this. I think in a strange way I am already.
Okay, I just hacked her but really robotic, Alaya. Like
she accepts the hug and kind of like does robotic back to you and is just like, Yes, this is what normal hugs are. Yes, good. Wonderful. And then she kind of like and like straightens herself out. And then she just says, well, until the next time we meet, 8 blessings of love be upon you, son.
Well, yeah. I guess that see you later. Long days and pleasant nights.
She seems like confused what you're saying. It's just like, yes, okay. And then she turns around and walks off, and you see her like snap her fingers and is just like, guide, and you see Gimbal kind of walk up alongside and is just like, if you'd like to follow me, milady.
Mm-hmm.
And they head off into the sunset. If there was a sunset, which there is not.
Okay.
So yeah, the rest of you are just kind of coming to consciousness.
Good morning.
Wow. Terrible.
Idris is still energetic. She's good morning, sunshines. It's time for a new day.
How you can do this?
I'm not. I'm quite resilient to the effects of alcohol, so I'm up too, and I'm just like,
Anthony.
Idris is absolutely used to it. She's the paladin that you always find in the pub if she's not on the battlefield.
Alessia, Jenkins walks up to you, and I don't want to steal actions or anything or really take that much control, but I'm going to say he's going to cast Healing Hands on you and use it to extract poison, the poison being alcohol.
That's really cute.
So yeah.
oh,
Thanks,
You have the horrible pounding headache, and he just walks up to you and is just like, morning. And then just like, you're still like a little bit like, but like, you don't have the hangover anymore.
You can see Idris and Emeraldora just looking at that.
That's the sound you put the power.
where's the bartender?
He
Guys,
is asleep
back.
literally on top of the bar.
Can I just sort of rummage behind the bar and see if there's any sort of games or something to play?
Oh, you want to play something?
Sure.
Yeah,
Say this loud.
Yes.
Make an investigation check with advantage.
Oh, she doesn't have to if she says it loud. Emanora obviously has games with her.
Yes, she does.
Of course she does.
Rummaging around behind the bar, like, there's not much behind there. But if you mentioned that you were wanting to find some games...
Emanora is like, oh, you want to play? Let's sit down and play. And she's like grabbing into her bag and she's getting out like a tiny cube of wood. It looks quite fancy, and she's starting to like open it, and it just opens up to a complete chess field with like the all figures to it. She's like, take a seat.
Actually, I wanted to play with Jenkins.
Oh, you want to? Of course, you can play with Jenkins as well.
Jenkins is just like, oh, good, I like chess. And then he starts remembering the last time he played chess, which ended in crossbow bolts and someone dying. And he's just like, I think I like chess.
Bad experience with chess, Jenkins?
You still got the figure, the shiny figure.
Yeah.
This is a
takes
beautiful piece.
It's very pretty, yeah.
Oh, what colour do you want to be?
He looks in and is just like, do I have to say?
You want to be white, huh?
Of course.
Okay, I start setting up the board. And we start to play, and I take the first turn, and I move a pawn forward. And I'm watching him sort of as the game is developing. Does he say anything at this point? Is he thinking of anything, or is he just enjoying the game, or how is he feeling?
You can see him like trying to strategize about it. But when you do like your first move, you notice that very quickly after, like almost with no thinking, he very confidently just picks up one of the moves and it's just like, yep.
Ah,
Oh, does Idris watch that?
if you want to.
She's so proud.
So you're a
Let
seasoned
her bomb
chess
paladin.
player, Jenkins.
What? Sorry.
You're a seasoned chess player, I see, Jenkins.
I've played a little bit. Yeah.
What's your favourite piece?
Oh, I like the rook.
Really, that surprises me.
Well, you know, I thought that maybe one day, if I was lucky, if I worked really hard, might get my own little castle. You know.
Aw, Jenkins, that's really sweet. I play my next move, and I play the knight, and I start to move the knight out onto the board.
He looks at that and then he says, "Your favourite piece?"
Funnily enough, yeah, I do quite like the knight. I do favour it. I like that it's a horse. I do, even though I don't like horses, it's still the only animal on the board. So you know, I can relate to that. I like that the knight always, no matter what side you're playing, you know, white or black, it's always a good knight. There's no bad players in chess, you know. There are opposing factions, but there's no good or bad. It's balanced.
Yeah.
Oh, at that point, you see Amanora want to take a step and say something, and Idris is just showing her she shouldn't say anything.
Jenkins just says, "I agree. Chess is balanced. It's fair. The same rules apply to you as apply to me."
Yeah, absolutely. It would be very funny, wouldn't it, if you know, there was only the white pieces or there was only the black pieces, because then you wouldn't be able to play chess, would you?
No, I suppose he wouldn't be able to play chess.
Take your move. Take your move.
At this point, he moves one of his bishops and takes the knight that he had just previously moved, puts it down to the side, and he says, he kind of leans in close and he just says, "I know what you're trying to do."
Proud Idris, really proud Idris.
And he just says, "Do you know one of the reasons I like chess? When the knight is dead, it's dead." And then he just puts it back down on the table.
Well, the problem is, if you get too cocky,
That's right.
then other pieces will rise up against it. The problem is not in how you play, it's how you think. And I take his... did you say it was a bishop?
Yep.
Yeah, I take his bishop with my rook. Jenkins, the funny thing is you're a smart lad, and you obviously see what I'm getting at here. The point I'm trying to make is, if light and dark are two sides of the same coin, if you tilt that too far one way, balance is shifted completely. If there was only light, there would be no room for shadow. But there is joy in darkness as well as there is joy in light. Darkness can't survive without light. So if there was no light, there wouldn't be darkness, there would just be nothing. You have to have light to make shadows, to have darkness.
At this point, Amanora is furious. She just steps up and she speaks. She looks down to Rixon. "I don't think you have the right to be the judge. You don't believe in the goddess that is for balance. You believe in pure darkness without any light."
Idris, remind your wench to remember where she is right now, because she's facing some difficult challenges. And I glare at her and Idris.
Didn't say that.
Jenkins, Jenkins just
don't
kind of
know
like
what
puts
you're
her hand up
facing.
and is just like, he looks to both of you and he's just like, "Don't worry, I've got this." And then he takes he takes one of his own knights and takes the rook that you had just used. And he just says, "It is true that light creates darkness. However, take a look out that window. And you can see out the window, and you can see the small amounts of light which are being given off by lanterns." And he says, "Around here, I don't see much light right now. There's a lot of darkness, not much light. So, if you truly believe that balance is the most important thing, you should leave me be." At this point, he just gets up from the chess table and just says, "You know what? I think I'm done playing games now."
Ooh, Jenkins.
I'm around.
Yeah.
We're probably all in the same room.
I just like kneel down the chessboard and tell Vixen, "Why didn't you say that you can bring back the queen to life?"
I would have got
I
to that.
can.
I don't want to interfere. That's your religious thing.
At this point, Hawk, who just kind of like emerges from underneath the bar, you can see he's got one of the Jacobean ruffs like stuck on one of his horns. It's kind of emerging as just like, "For the love of all that is holy, can we stop debating politics? I have too much of a hangover."
Emanora loves Jenkins now. She absolutely is amazed by him. He was even more diplomatic than a politician could have been.
Can we know what Emanora is?
What do you mean?
But like, what's her profession? Is she human? Is she?
She's a half elf. You can see her pointy ears, but she's not as tall as an elf. And she wears really fancy clothes, and she just patched out a really cool board of chess with chess pieces out of her pocket.
She's from Tracy.
Okay. Can I ask her? So, where do you come from?
Oh. How famous is she?
Famous, famous Emanora is.
How many people know her?
Inside the Vaneborn Union, pretty much everyone. Outside the Vaneborn Union, pretty much no one.
Okay, so they don't know her. She looks over and she's like, "Oh, I didn't have the time to introduce myself. My name is Emanora Adelman, and I'm the peace bringer of the Vaneborn Union. I'm representing the half-elves of the Vaneborn Union."
Are you some kind of royalty?
Do some pretentious.
I wouldn't say royalty. There are no real royalty. We are elected politicians, and I'm on my duty to make this world a better world. But yes, you would call me a politician.
Okay.
And somebody just called me a what?
It was wench. Sorry, I didn't realise you were hard of hearing.
I see.
We didn't even know Idris had a girlfriend up until now, so you're like news to me.
Yes, I'm not sure why she's traveling. Yeah, Idris, right. There was something. You remember? I sent you off to the battlefields. We had this conversation. You really wanted to go to the battlefields. I really don't wanted it. I wanted you to stay safe at home, but you really wanted to go. And then I decide I have things to do in other countries, and I visit you because we didn't see each other for 5 months. And imagine what happened when I arrived there. Imagine what happened. You weren't there. So then the people there told me, "Oh, you went to Sakani for whatever reasons." So I listen, I look out for Sakani, and oh, big explosion when I don't even want to know what happened there, okay? I don't want to know what you do with these people on your way, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure what to say. And you can see like Idris getting even paler than she usually gets. Like, yes, darling, you know, it's. I helped a lot at the battlefields, but I wanted to know what drives these people to so cruelty. I wanted to end the war on my own, and now I realize how stupid this sounds. But trust me, I had good. When I started to plan this whole thing, it sounded amazing, and so yeah. And then this explosion, I helped these people. I thought, you know, they need help. You know, help is important. So I decided to help them here. And Emanora just looks like ice cold, but she's slowly getting it. She's slowly puzzling together what happened, and she starts not to be that mad anymore.
Jenkins kind of like pops in and is just like, if she hadn't helped us, I'm pretty sure we would all be dead.
Oh, so you would be dead. Ah, yes, she helped you. Yeah, no, I'm not mad, Idris. Sometimes the goddess brings you to has weird ways. She helped me to find you, so I guess she wanted this whole situation. So it's okay. It's okay. I will calm down. It was just really shocking, and I had to lose a lot of to get here in that fast way. So forget it. We found each other. You have to go back.
Wait, we have to go back where?
Oh yes, Jenkins, you don't know about this. So basically, there's a big war between the Raeburn Union and House Varren, was it?
Yeah.
And Idris is like a really important person in this battle to keep our lines safe. So all people stay safe. So she basically has got back to her duty.
How did your war start?
That's a long story. I think I remember what happened, right? It was like the way the House Varren is like quite aggressive, and they just want to take back that land.
Yeah. So you would know that basically, when the people who now inhabit the Vaneborn Union arrived, they kind of like drilled up from beneath to run away from something. They were refugees. And House Varren, because of course they did, decided, oh, look at these people coming into our land. They must be invading. And have been basically trying to kill them since day one. And the Vaneborn Union have basically been trying to defend their own borders since day one, because they didn't want to be there anyway.
So it's quite complicated. We would love to have peace, but it doesn't seem to be possible without violence at the borders. So I will definitely find a way to solve this problem, but I need time.
Why not just relocate?
That sounds easy.
Well, you're invading. Perhaps if you relocate or offered to relocate, the war would stop.
Where do you want us to relocate?
Anywhere.
You know, there's all other land is already taken by other houses, and they're not really, let's say, helpful.
Maybe we'll find something promising on our journey.
That's why I'm here. I'm heading to the Ascendancy.
I just find it very strange that you would continue fighting over land that doesn't belong to you.
We don't want it. We want a peaceful place where we can live in peace.
But surely that would mean no fighting.
Yes, that would be ideal.
But yet you're still fighting.
Look, if we would give up the borders, they would just simply kill us. There wouldn't be peace at all. So we keep peace in the whole country except the border, and hope to and try to solve these difficulties on a diplomatic way.
Wouldn't the best diplomatic solution to be evacuate and retreat?
We tried to find another place where we could live in peace. It's not that easy. But maybe the ascendancy is more helpful in this case.
Maybe. I find your war very confusing, especially with your background, Idris.
But it's confusing. I'm keeping the people in my country safe.
You might think that, but you're killing others to do so.
Oh, I don't try to kill them.
It was never your country to begin with.
We would have left if we come here and just they say, yeah, you can live with us. But that wasn't the case.
Well, you can't just roll up and say, I'm home, and it's not your home. You don't just walk into someone's house and go, I'm home, but you don't live there.
That wasn't the situation. We came here in peace. We ran away from a... It was terrible. We had to find a safe place, and we came here, and they just attacked us. We didn't wanted to take away anyone's place. We just wanted to have shelter until we find something else.
I find it interesting that you would fight for something.
I'm fighting for peace.
That doesn't make sense at all.
It doesn't make a peaceful solution. It's fighting for peace would be defending a home that someone has invaded. You're the invaders.
We don't want more than we need. And we would also, if they would say we want the land, they can have the land if we can live amongst them. But that's not the case.
But then rather than, I mean, I'm guessing you went down diplomatic paths for a diplomatic solution, and they said no, yes? Because at that point, you would have turned tail and found somewhere else. But no, you all decided to battle them and have a war. One of you, stood up and said, no, we want to stay.
From a strict historical standpoint, that is not what happened.
Okay.
From a strict historical standpoint, they were just trying to get away. They were in a giant drilling machine type thing, and the giant drill stopped working.
And they get attacked.
And there was no like, oh hi, we're here, we'd like to speak. It was, they arrived, the drill broke down, and immediately House Ryan was like, murder them.
So they never had a chance to have a diplomatic solution?
No, till not,
House Ryan
not till now.
Listen.
But then why keep battling? Why not just run?
That's not that easy. We try to find a peaceful place where we can go. That's why I'm on my way. That's why all the politicians of the Weyburn Union are traveling. That's why I'm here. I shouldn't be here. That's just a stop on my way. We try to find a peaceful solution to go somewhere else, or just find somebody who can talk to them so they stop fighting and we can talk about it and maybe find a good solution. But until this point doesn't happen, we can't just let them kill all our people. It's not even our people. We live there in a really colorful community. We fight for everybody in that place.
Okay. I'm still not sure I 100% understand it, but it's very
politics complicated.
It seems like a very complicated situation to be in.
It is. We just want to live peacefully with Idris. That was our dream for our whole life, but things are not that easy.
Jenkins at this point like puts his hand up and is just like,
yes. Idris and Menora say yes at the same time.
He looks back and forth between. He's just like, sorry, are we going back to the war?
It's not quite directly the war, Jenkins, but if you would like to, come with me and I can train you to be a paladin of Dolara, then you can come with me and help me heal the warriors, try to help the people there running away, and do good at the border.
Make a persuasion check with advantage.
Ooh.
$15. he looks really like confused. He's looking back and forth, looking at like the rest of the party and looking at you. And he just eventually he's just like,
Oh, we won't leave them forever. Don't be scared, Jenkins. As long as Emanora is with them, our heart will be with them as well.
he says, give me one second. And he touches the symbol of Dalara, and you can see him praying.
Aww.
And then after he's finished praying, he opens his eyes and he just says, I will follow you. Wherever you go.
I'm so proud of you, Jenkins.
Thanks. I'm proud of me too.
Perfect.
That's it.
So, just to kind of round out our episode tonight, you guys have some time to collect your things and to say your goodbyes to the other members of the party. And as you are about to head out back in the direction of Sakani and back towards the front, you have some time to say any last things that you want to say to the rest of the party.
So Idris is looking at you all, and Jenkins next to her, and she's thinking shortly, and then it's like a little light goes on in her brain. It's like, oh, there's something, Emanora, I have to give you before I leave. She just takes the little egg out of her pocket. Bring this life back to me so we can reunite soon. I don't think it would be safe in the battlefields. Emanora looks rather confused, but also really interested, and she takes the egg. She's like, I will definitely come back to you, and takes it. And then Idris turns to the other ones of the party. If you don't keep her safe, don't dare to show up in front of me again. And she's then like, Jenkins, let's go. And Emanora looks at Jenkins, and she walks up to him, and she uses the cantrip message.
Mm-hmm.
And she tells him, if she's a little bit full of herself and she's bullying you, just ask her what color you wear. You will see that will be a lot of fun.
You see him kind of like nod, and then you hear back in your head he's just like, I like you.
And then she's turning around. She's giving Idris a hug. She's giving Jenkins a hug. Mm-hmm. She's turning around to the rest of the people.
And
Idris and Jenkins
tap her on the back and say, I'm sure you will bring light wherever you go.
Thank you.
Idris.
Oh, yes.
We may not have agreed, but I still respect you.
Same here.
Look after yourself and don't get killed. If you do, no. I'll look at bringing you back. I'll give her a wink.
She looks terrified. I will be fine. We will meet soon. Bye, guys. She's grabbing Jenkins' hand and walking fast away.
Jenkins just like rolls his eyes and is just like, it's been fun, guys. Bye.
Bye, Jenkins. We'll meet again.
Bye, Jenkins.
Bye.
I liked you.
Oh, definitely.
Just as he's being dragged off, he says, liked. Why do you say liked?
Don't get killed!
I just turned to, what's the name? Emanora?
Emanora, yes.
And I just say, oh, that's such a nice girlfriend. Like 5 months of loneliness, a night of love, and
she's a blessing.
She's off again. I think she has another woman that means a bit more to her than you.
That's
Ellen, you bitch.
Why do you say that? That's a lie.
No, he means Dalara.
Oh, Dalara.
I think this woman means a lot to both of us.
Oh God,
Ellen.
that's Ellen.
Hawks just says, "Yes, I think that is very much the point." Quick question. Where is my bag of holding? And that's where we're going to finish tonight's episode.
Oopsie doopsie.
So thank you very much, guys, for watching. We hope you enjoyed it tonight. And as always, we are presented by and in association with Horsham Gamers. We're a local group that does all kinds of gaming, through from board gaming and tabletop RP stuff like this, through to digital gaming, esports, whatever you can think of. If you're interested in gaming, we are interested in it too. And if you would like to come and meet some of us, then have a look for us on Facebook at Horsham Gamers and on our Discord channel as well at Horsham Gamers. We'd love to meet you, and we'd love to get you involved in some of the stuff that we got going on. So thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and good night.
Bye.
Bye.